All right, this week on Camera Talk, we're talking a dream. Do you like to dream, mister?
Do not go into the light!
That's right. Dylan and I are here to talk about the dream lens. That's right, it's the Canon 0.95 from 1961. You know, everybody talks about 0.95 like the Noctilux. My last episodes. Noctiluxes are great, but the dream lens. 1961, it was 47 years before the 0.95 Noctilux came into existence. So, why don't you pull up a chair, grab a snack, grab something, and we'll get into this together, all right? Stay tuned.
Here I am, Vietnam. Rain is always coming down.
This is Camera Talk with Dr. Scott and Mr. Dylan, the future Dr. Dylan. All right, this week on Camera Talk, just as the intro said, we're looking at the Canon 50mm 0.95, the dream lens.
I have a dream.
We all like to dream, don't we? He likes to dream. Tell you that. He has nightmares all the time. Wakes up every night, wah, wah, screaming like a little girl. Even though you're a little boy, you shouldn't be screaming like a little girl. Anyway, this is what I have here. This is the Canon 50mm 0.95 dream lens. Produced in 1961 all the way to 1970. They produced 19,456 exactly between 1961 and 1970. Done as the regular lens. Now they also produced what they call the TV lens, which had 3 different versions of that. I'm not really sure what all the differences were. They talk about different coatings on those TV lenses, but haven't nailed that down precisely what the differences are between them. There was obviously a prototype that came up. Then there was the production version, which is this, and then 3 different TV versions from there.
The wonderful world of Cameraland.
So again, looking at the serial number of mine is 10,670. So mathematically that puts that somewhere in 1966, 1967. So I was just a wee lad, just about his age really, when this thing was made. So anyway, in 1961, this was going for 57,000 yen, which translates into $500 in 1961 cash. So that was a decent amount of money, because if you translate that today to 2022, that's $2,700. So, and even with that said, this being as old as it is even more valuable than that. So, go figure. Anyway, it's got a great reputation out there. Some people love it, some people hate it.
I don't like the artsy-fartsy thing. I think I hated his...
For various reasons, of course, in that regard. But, this was originally designed for the Canon 7 rangefinder. Because, back in the early 60s, rangefinders were the thing still. So they were competing with Leica and Nikon and everybody else who was creating rangefinders. And eventually everybody got out of it, except for Leica, who basically bet the family farm on rangefinders, and it's paying off for them. The M10, they just came up with an M11, almost $10,000 to buy an M11. That's just for the camera. Then the lenses, I know it's amazing, and it's $10,000 for a camera. Holy crap!
Holy crap!
But anyway, the Canon 7, originally these things were built with a what they call an S mount on it. So of course they don't fit on anything other than the Canon 7 rangefinder. So you need to either get an adapter, or you need to pay somebody to convert it. So these S-mount ones were the best to convert to an M, so that you could fit it on a Leica product. The TV versions were a C-mount, and that one's more of a bugger to try to work on anything. So you're better off, if you're in the market to search for one of these things, get the non-TV version. Probably a little easier for you, unless you can find the TV version's already been converted by somebody somewhere, and you know, hey, can't beat that. So anyway, it was the fastest lens at the time. Again, 1961, 0.95. I mean, Canon made a 1.2, but the 0.95 was the bee's knees, you know, at the time. No one else was even close. I mean, Leica came up with their first Noctilux 5 years after the fact, and that was still a 1.25. And then they went to an f1, and then 47 years after this one, in 2008, Leica did a 0.95 of their own. Now, of course, if you want to compare, the you know, the Leica Noctilux 0.95 to this, of course, the Noctilux is going to kick its butt in the technical aspects of things.
Oh my god.
But like I just said, 47 years later is when this happened. So of course, it's kind of not fair to the Canon lens to do a straight up comparison to that. But because of the imperfections in this lens, the you know, the character that this thing has is what the Noctilux doesn't. The Noctilux, you know, you watch my the previous episodes of Camera Talk, and we looked at the Noctilux, and it's pretty like a big Summilux is what it is. It's a very nice lens, but it's also almost $13,000. Oh my God, $13,000! That's a lot of money, mister.
Get the fuck out of here.
I don't have that kind of money, so there's no way I'm going to buy one of those, even used, $7,000, $8,000, $9,000. No, thank you. So, the Dream lens here is kind of right up my alleyway. So, you know, that's kind of where I'm going with this thing anyway. So, again, it was the fastest in the day, 1961. But then again, Carl Zeiss came along and created a 0.7. 0.7. That's a pretty big ass aperture, isn't it? But they only made 10 copies. It's not like it was something they were selling to the consumers. 6 of those copies went to NASA. And why would NASA want something like that? Well, they wanted to take pictures of the dark side of the moon. Pink Floyd was thinking of the same thing, but even they couldn't afford one. So NASA got 6 of these things and used them, you know, up there on the moon. Stanley Kubrick, you know, the film director, bought 3 of them for his 1975 film, the Barry Lyndon. So if you watch that film, you know, you see the scenes shot in candlelight and everything. The 0.7 was filming those things. And then one, the leftover one, Carl Zeiss kept that and keep it in their display cabinet somewhere. So anyway, well, that's the 0.7, nothing to do with this, but I'm just saying, in the consumer market, this was the fastest lens you can get for 47 years, you know, or until others came along. Obviously, you know, I have a 0.95 here from TT Artisan. You know, Midicon makes one. There's a few of them out there nowadays. So they're all, you know, competing with each other for your dollar, so to speak. But even the TT Artisan is technically a better lens than this. But as I said, the character that this lens produces is quite different. So let's talk about that for a second. You know, wide open, of course. People will say, you know, again, depending on who you talk to, because it really does depend on the camera you're using, the photographer, the conditions, you know, all these what if to come up with these types of analysis for this lens. You'll get some people who say, hey, it's wicked sharp, wide open. Others will say, well, I don't know about wicked sharp, but it's sharp enough. Some people say, oh, it's got a glow to it, or that's really soft, and whatnot. But again, those conditions, you know, are you close enough to your subject? Did your subject move? Did you move? You know, it's got such a shallow depth of field that a simple, you know, in, out, and you're automatically out of focus. So, and I'll show you shots I've taken of him. Now, of course, I tried to not get him running around because that would be impossible to get a good picture. But when he was in his little carriage, the stroller, where he couldn't go anywhere, at least I got him into some positions where he wasn't able to run around. And same with his, he was just outside the room here playing with something a few minutes ago. So I stopped down to 1.4 just to see what it looked like to compare to my, you know, dozen other 1.4s I have. And it's very similar. Again, it's sharp. The out of focus background is nice. But wide open is why you would buy a lens like this in the first place. Because it is, some people will say it's painterly, some people will say it's fugly, some people will say it's artistic, some people will say it's busy, some people will say it's, I don't know, what else? What other descriptions can we think of that I've heard? Some people love it, you know. Oh, wait, we have an announcement in the building. Somebody's cooking something in their kitchen and burned something, so the fire alarm went off. Oh well. But so the bokeh is
Buttery bokeh.
special. I mean, again, it's something, if you want to compare it to the Noctilux or compare it to the TT Artisan or whatever, it's very, very different. I mean, if you do a side by side, you can immediately identify this lens compared to those guys. So it is something special.
Well, isn't that special?
And as I said, some people love it. I'm from that camp. Yeah, that's me. I like it. I don't know if I borderline love it.
I like you a lot.
But I like it enough that I have one and I'm going to keep using it. Other people will say it's horrible, horrible look, horrible lens.
Every single fucking thing about you is ugly.
But hey, some people love, ooh, did you fart? Man, that stinks, mister. Hey, yeah.
Who pays gas?
Not me.
What the?
Some people, you know, again, that's trying to compare like Rembrandt to Van Gogh or Picasso to I was going to say Leonardo DiCaprio.
I'm the king of the world!
But he's an actor, you know, he's not an artist.
I'm a fucking artist. I'm sensitive as shit.
Leonardo da Vinci. You know, it's like comparing these guys. It's completely different, you know, different look to the final product. So anyway, what else did I want to say? Anything else you can remember? No. Well, like I said, just as usual, let me show you doing my usual. Now I've got a Leica M mount because this is made for an M mount. I've got Leica M mount to NEX, so I can mount it on my Sony A7R II. Let me get it wide open. Let me, as anybody who watches my channel knows, no, don't push any buttons, mister. I always take a picture of the nameplate on the end of my Canon M50, which is filming this video, and the lens is a 15 to 45 EFM lens. So again, let me get in as sharp as I can. All right, right there. 1, 2, 3. Oh, I have it on multi-shooter. Anyway, continuous shooting. So anyway, that was 0.95. Let me put it at 1.4 again to give you a good sample of 1.4. All right, 1, 2, 3. All right. So again, you know, people will say, "Oh, it's really hard to focus," so forth and so on. It depends. You know, everything depends. You know, if your subject's moving around, you know, if you're moving, it's going to be difficult to focus on your subject. And, you know, again, because it's got such a shallow depth of field at 0.95, you know, it could be a challenge for you. But, hey, there's lots of challenges in life, so what are you whining about? If you get some beautiful, you know, beautiful results from it, you know, you just can't complain. What else did I say or not remember to say? Well, one of the things we forgot to talk about, and you know, when I asked Dylan, is there anything else we can that I'm forgetting? He didn't remind me, so I sent him out to the corner as punishment. So he's thinking about what he's done to Daddy, and maybe next time he'll remember. Just kidding, you know. Actually, this is recorded the next day because I remembered. Oh my God, I forgot to talk about just the specs run through on this big bad baby here. So, how it compares: 7 elements in 5 groups. You know, if you compare that to, you know, the Noctilux and stuff is 8 elements. You know, so not that big a difference really. Its close focus distance is 1 meter. Again, very Noctiluxish situation versus like my TT Artisan here. It's actually 70 centimeters, kind of like my Summoluxes and, you know, all the other rangefinder lenses out there that are 70 centimeters. So it's 1 meter, not that big a deal. I mean, you could put another adapter on there, kind of turning into, you know, it's a macro adapter, and it gets you that much closer, 70 centimeters basically. But 1 meter is not that bad. I mean, it seems like a long distance, but you know, you're not using a 50 to get in that close anyway on things. So it's pretty good. Aperture blades. The aperture blades, there's 10 of them. You know, again, in 1960s, especially early 60s, you know, the trend at the time, you know, if you look at my top cores and all these others were 6 aperture blades. So 10, nice. They're not quite circular though, even though they are curved. They have, again, very Leica-ish type aperture blades. So there's kind of rounded edges. So if you see the bokeh balls, as in when I stopped this thing down to 1.4, you'll see that there's edges on the ball versus wide open where they're, you know, circular or cat eye shaped and whatever other descriptions there are out there, but they're smooth edges. How much does this baby weigh? 605 grams. Again, it's heavy, but not as heavy as this one, or not as heavy as the Noctilux. So 605 is okay, but when you obviously compare it, you know, or not compare it, but add it to the weight of the body that it's on, in this case the A7R2 or the M10, it can get heavy. I mean, especially if you got it on a camera strap around your neck, you know, you may feel it after a while. I tend to carry my cameras handheld anyway, so I keep them in a bag until I want to use them, and then take them out handheld, and I'll put a camera strap around my neck just for safety purposes, so that you know, if I slip out of my hand, it doesn't fall to the ground. or if some creep comes along and tries to steal it from me,
His brother from another mother.
they'll have a harder time. And these things are heavy enough anyway. I could probably use it as a weapon. You know, somebody try to steal it, it's like hit you in the head with a brick. So anyway, that was just my little insert to the video without my little co-host here, Dylan. He just got a vaccination shot this morning. Cried like a little girl. Poor me, got a vaccination shot. Of course, now he's forgotten all about it. He had a bottle and he's off to La La Land, sleeping like a little angel. So anyway, that was that. So back to our regularly scheduled program. You know, like looking at pictures of mommy. 0.95 is 4 times as fast as your eyes can pick up. So it can pick up a lot of light. So it's perfect for nighttime photography, and I'll show you some samples of that too. Obviously of this guy. So why don't we do that then? Let's do some pictures of Dylan at 0.95. Those backgrounds were pretty wild, weren't they? So again, you either love them or you hate them. And one of the things, when you have a lot of stuff in the background, obviously it's going to mush them all together and make them, again, pretty funky.
Funky coma data.
But you know, if you've got a pretty blah background, wide open or whatever, nothing cluttering, you're going to get a little smoother result. And I did that with the 1.4. Stop that. With the 1.4 samples, which I got with Dylan. So let me show you those here. 1.4. And last but not least, it's not last but not least, but let me show you some samples of other stuff too, besides just Dylan. I know it's lovely to see pictures of Dylan all over the place, but let me get you some pictures of other stuff out there in the world to just show you there's more things to life than Dylan. I know you think you're super important, but there's other stuff out there. So let me show you that here. What else? Now that I've talked enough about the Dream Lens, let me talk about software. My little plug for Luminar. I use Luminar, Luminar AI, and Luminar Neo to edit my photos. And you know, I always recommend everybody do a little editing of their photos anyway. You can always make something better. Hey, why not? But Luminar AI, Luminar Neo are the are the software packages I use, and you know they're economical. They're great. I mean, great for what you can do. They're simple to use, user friendly. Yeah, and they're economical too, right? They're like $60, $70 or so. But if you click below, you'll get a $10 savings. And it's yours for life. You download it, it's yours. You don't have any subscriptions or anything else. So with that said, why don't you help us out, right? Support our channel and subscribe. That's right. You want to do a subscription? So help support us. Help support Dylan and subscribe. And 2 fingers. And lastly, a third time's a charm, so subscribe. That's right. He loves subscriptions. And how about the thumbs up? You want to give us a thumbs up for the thumbs up girls? And is there anything else we need to talk about? Well, just remember, all this is brought to you by Modesty Photography, where we're here to save you money, tips and tricks on things, chat a little photography this, photography that, vintage lenses and cameras and techniques, and spending time with Dylan, and hey, that's what we're here for. So stay safe out there, right? I mean, we want you to come back next week, so stay away from the COVID. I mean, I know the new Omicron one's not so serious. But still, don't let your guard down and go, well, since it's not so serious, I don't mind catching it then. I've just read just this morning about some singer in Czech Republic caught it on purpose to figure she'd build up some antibodies and ended up dying from it. So be careful with that stuff out there, man. Viruses are nothing to play with. So anyway, come on back next week, because this was, ready? What are we? What's the name of the show? Let go of that. This was Camera Talk with Dr. Scott and Dylan. So thanks for dropping by. Thanks for supporting us. Thanks for the thumbs up. And we'll see you in the next video. All right, so take care. I'm going to say bye-bye. Bye-bye.
Here I am, Vietnam. Rain is always